The Excellency before me indicated that this has been a long gestation period. And indeed, we started along informal lines in engaging Guyana in the first instance to determine whether Guyana would have been interested in supporting St. Kitts and Nevis's accession to the partial scope agreement which had hitherto existed between Brazil and Guyana. Guyana very quickly indicated a positive response, and then the other formalities of inquiring to Brazil, etc., took place before eventually we thought we had the basis on which to proceed to engage CARICOM. And the CARICOM mechanism is somewhat akin to the ELADI structure, which Ambassador Pereira spoke to about, and Malgan, in our case, of 15 countries, in his case, about 12 countries, whose support had to be sought and achieved before we were able to proceed. And that is because of the special and peculiar realities within the CARICOM CSME arrangement, where we have to be careful that in trade arrangements, when we are moving alone and not in sum total, none of the actions that we would take would anyway negative any other member state. And so that crucial process, as it were, took some time. And we formally appealed to CARICOM at the 26th meeting, I think, of COTED in October in 2008, and made the case really that this agreement was important. The agreement was important because, unlike many of the other agreements which we had and we had signed on, even the EPA, Economic Partnership Agreement, which is perhaps more widely known, the impetus and the trust were coming from the private sector. It was one agreement which we could say was being private sector driven, and that is critical because we accepted that it is the private entities that trade, not government. Government then acts as a facilitator, creating the environment in which the trade could take place. But if we are truly to get the benefits, then the private people have to come on board. And so we were quite happy that we were being pushed by Jose Rosa, in particular of Cajola Cristada fame. He was being supported by Carol Evelyn of Harrisova Limited, and in fact the broader chamber of private partners, perhaps being aware of the importance of this market, basically came aboard to Michael Morton, to Carol Evelyn, even at his presidency of the CIC, and basically gave us the necessary encouragement to push the particular agreement. Quickly, I think that there were four main benefits that we envisaged for the private sector. The first one was that by and large, especially in the context of the global economic and financial recession, which has been prolonged, many of our export manufacturers were witnessing rather a decline in the market. Electrofab, for example, suffered loss of market share, and several other entities were impacted. The question is, were there alternative markets in which they could engage? And critically important, the Brazilian market is the single most important market for the reasons the ambassadors before me highlighted. It is the fifth largest by way of population size, a population of about 194 million people in the world, with one of the largest middle income group, which is important in terms of purchasing power. But importantly too, it is now a global player in the marketplace, sixth largest economy in the world. And when you speak about a country that could hold negotiations at the WTO up, you will have to include Brazil among them. So we are now entering into a very important marketplace in South America, and that is the Brazilian market. But critically important for us was that Brazil also is being among the top countries rated for its involvement in electronics and ICT products. And that happened to be the market in which we had an interest, and our enclave manufacturers had the deepest interest. In fact, one report put it, that Brazil is now at the global epicenter of the electronics and electrical markets. When you want to speak about gadget, when you want to speak about participation of people, young people in the ICT sector, we are talking about Brazil. And so that fit well into our major priority. The second related benefit was that not only was it one of expansion of the market, as critical as that was, but also the opportunity for enhanced viability to being able to get their products out without all the difficulties of rerouting to parent companies, etc. The third important benefit had to do with the competitiveness factor. As it is now, we are selling products to Brazil, but they are going through the process of rerouting and they are not obtaining preferential imposts. When we signed this agreement, I think on average we pay about 35% duty on products into Brazil now. For those on the list, we are going to have a waiver, a significant reduction of that. So that 35% burden would basically evaporate, and we're talking about our products being able to compete much better in the Brazilian market. So that is going to be a critical benefit. And with all of these foregoing benefits then, we are talking about entities that should be in a stronger position to grow their employee role, stronger position to bring foreign exchange into the country, and these will benefit all of us. And finally, an important point that goes broader than the focus on the enclave manufacturing sector is that we are intending by this agreement to bring broader consumer welfare benefits. That is, Brazil provides an opportunity for us to import a wide range of products, and we can have them at more competitive terms. We have seen, for example, now at Rams, another place, I think is Sadia chicken, which is now being imported from Brazil, and other products are coming because Brazil really is an international player in a wide array of products. So beyond the scope list, we want to be able to engage in meaningful commercial relationships that will bring quality products, by and large, to St. Kitts and Nevis at affordable prices. And finally, a word of thank you to all the people who have been supportive of this agreement. They have been many and perhaps too numerous to mention. But I said before, Cajola Cristado, Harasova, Luchan, Jaro, they have been in the forefront of this initiative, and we want to commend them and to hope that once this agreement is now ready for operationalization, that they will do some of the things that Ambassador Pereira said. It is difficult to enter in your market. You need to go there. You need to develop business relationship and contacts and put them to work for you. Of course, we couldn't have done this without the technical support we got within the ministry. I want to commend some of the leaders who are here. Our Ambassador Acting, Charlton Edwards, brought a new dimension of efficiency in terms of taking this forward, and I want to thank him, and before him, Ambassador Hazel. I want to thank Andrew Satney, who came to us from the Commonwealth Secretariat as a trade advisor and who has been doing yeoman service. Of course, Mr. Berridge has done quite a lot of work on this, and I also want to mention him as he's here, but also absent would be people like Michael Morton, like Wendy Phipps, like Howard Richardson. The whole cast at the CIC, as I said, were very supportive, and we want them to know that we appreciate that. And finally, because we are small, and smallness is important in the international dynamics of trade, resource, capacity. Much of this came from the CARICOM Secretariat, the Office of Trade Negotiation, Price, and all of these people. I want to record the government's own appreciation for this. And finally, to Ambassador, without this embassy being here, I don't believe we would have gotten the attention that we deserve as a country and an important player in the global marketplace. And so, Ambassador Malgares, I want to thank you deeply for the steadfast approach that you took in ensuring this would come. You could imagine a country of 194 million, 6th largest in the world, having time and attention for a small country of about 50,000. I see him had mentioned of cities of 15 million and so on and so on. It doesn't happen often, but it happened in the context of a vision that President Lula had for greater integration of states across Latin America and the Caribbean. And so we want to thank President Lula and his successor for continuing that broader Bolivarian vision, that vision of integration, that vision of empowerment of the world's people. And we thank Brazil for moving forward with this great vision of hope for all people. Thank you very much. May God bless us.